some good mental stuff today. We worked on different situations as you go through, your installation gets to where you're about completed, and you begin to work on those things that maybe come up once or twice a year, but they're important to work on, so we did those things today. We'll be in half pads this afternoon. It should be a pretty spirited practice, and I think we're making good progress.
Is Jake Mulhart's injury a hamstring, or what did he actually?
It's some soft tissue deal. It's not really a hamstring. I think it's more in the quad or groin, but something with his leg. He can go. Sometimes he goes too hard, and that's what happened.
Is it something where, with all these guys, you want to err on the positive side with these guys right now?
Well, anytime, there's always a judgment that you make with a soft tissue issue. There's never hard lines, and you listen to the player. Certainly our sports medicine staff and our strength and conditioning staff has been, integrated in these decisions. We've had more hamstring pulls than what I can remember in a while, but sometimes all that comes about. It's a year of the hamstring. Last year was a year of the concussion. I'd rather have hamstrings than concussions, but nonetheless, we'll work through it.
Were you happy with the team's focus coming out today compared to yesterday?
I thought so, and once again, probably talked to Tim. It's sometimes never as bad as you think. Once you start watching the tape, never as good. But I thought, particularly offensively, we were out of kilter a little bit, and I thought some of the pickups today were better. Josh's completion percentage was better. We've been tracking that every day. Some of that's going to come into as we get our upper units, the guys he's throwing the ball to, but certainly the offensive line came into play. I will tell you, we're going to take a hard look at Gavin Rush at the starting left guard, and then Chase Relier as a center. We've been rotating that, but I think we're probably more inclined to get more reps that way than the other way.
I know you mentioned
that's a news bite.
Dustin was maybe in that mix too. Is this kind of a deciding factor, or with the concussion injury at
Jace Webb?
Was it Jace who had the concussion?
Jace said.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll take a look at him as a guard, and I'm in hopes over the next day or so he'll be back. But certainly, when you're a young player and you miss the lion's share of these reps, that has a pretty significant impact. So I think Gavin's a little bit ahead of Chase where he's at, simply because of being on the field more.
I guess in an ideal situation, how would you like to have that line firmed up by? Right now? Is that yesterday?
Right now, yesterday. But every year you tinker with certain things. We have a lot of experience there, unlike in years past. But nonetheless, we're not solidified yet. And sometimes it's not the 5 best players, but the 5 players that can play together the best. And that's kind of what we're looking at as well.
Defensive line-wise, you've seemed to be encouraged by the progress, especially at the end position. What are you seeing out of that group there?
Well, first of all, some explosiveness. Not to say that OC and Eddie weren't explosive, but these guys, KP and Carl, they certainly have KP runs about a 4.4, and it's got really good speed. And Carl's put on some, I think, really good weight. He's 240 pounds, and he looks still really lean, and he's playing hard. And so those edge rushers are really helping, and all the different offenses that we face, it's going to be important for us to have athletic guys at those positions.
What about that push inside, especially maybe going up against the run defense there?
Well, that's always a concern. We've certainly picked up some more experience, but I think also some lean muscle mass. We're not as big as what we'd like to have. We'd like our defensive tackles to be all about 300. I think, Sid's the only one that's at 300, but the other guys are, they're hovering around the 290 range, and so that's a good place to be. I think those guys are pretty athletic too, so they're another year older. Gaffon redshirted last year. Connor Kane played, but they're all a little bit bigger and stronger. And I think Sid's gotten more athletic. He's leaned up a little bit. He's a lean 300 pounds. And certainly Chase Appleby, having him out there, he seems fully recovered. So 4 guys rotating around there is a good number.
Scrimmage-wise, what's kind of the plan right now, Saturday, that you've got in mind at least?
Well, we'll do some situational plays. I think it's important to create some things if they don't come up around the goal line. Certainly some long yardage situations, some short yardage situations. We'll really take a hard look at the kicking game, making sure that our depth chart is set. We've been working a lot of different guys and a lot of the coverage teams and the protection teams, but we need to start making some decisions that not only has an impact on what guys we play on those teams, but also what guys that will probably play as freshmen. We begin to banter some of those names around. I'm not going to talk about those names today, but those decisions, you know, those are never easy decisions. I think this year will be a little bit more difficult than last year. Last year was, we had just a boatload of guys, and I don't think you'll see as many freshmen play. You'll still see some, but that's an indication that it's another step forward with our program.